All right, what is up, YouTube and 40? We're going to be continuing on with the regional series of deck profiles. Now, I have a lot of information from a lot of people, and I'm sorry I haven't gotten to your list just yet. Please work with me as we cover 3 of these a day. I don't want to do many more, but I'll try to get as much information as I can. So the first list I actually have here is from Sergio Merte Valencia. He actually, I believe he finished X2, X1 at his regional with this, but this is the first time I've seen we've seen Mekk-Knight Invoked actually do something, and quite a little bit. And I think that this is a good sigh of fresh air to the format right now, as a lot of players are definitely looking for budgetary options outside of your standard Salamangreat boards and things like that. Now, I'm not exactly sure. Obviously, your very go second, like, the amount of hand traps you are playing in this deck definitely proves it. And if you go second and you break that opponent's board, you are good to go. So this is Mr. Sergio Merte's Mekk-Knight Invoked. I don't know why. Every time I look at this deck, I'm like, what is this deck called again? Like, not trying to be insulting, but yeah. So anyway, we have triple copies of Alistair the Invoker. Of course, searching for invocation is really good. We have triple copies of Ash Blossom, now accessible and affordable to 95% more of the player base. 2 copies of Prinkatops. This card is insane going second. The power, and the amount of power in my voice that you guys just heard there literally says what this card does. 2600 and quick effect Tribute to Dino Wrestler. Destroy something the opponent controls. This card is nuts. Like, this will aid you in your bad matchups all the way around. We have triple copies of Effect Veiler. So honestly, this card is pretty good right now. Hitting the key part of the Salamangreat play or anything else will definitely make your life all the easier. Now, 2 copies of Kumamungus, Kaiju Wing, setting up a column. That's what we come here for. Now, only 2 copies of blue. I think this is correct. 1 copy of Indigo for moving. And triple copies of Purple Nightfall. I'm also relatively fine with these ratios. I think the 6 package is about where you want to be. Play any more than that, I think you're going to run into some issues. And you don't want to bog down the deck, because you've already got enough problems as it is already. Like, you're going second deck in a format where going first is probably the most insane it's ever been. Now, of course, triple copies of Gamma, 1 copy of Driver. I'm actually kind of curious to know how this worked for this man. Like, this package seems really, really good, but it does seem like it has issues in the long run right now, because dead drawing the Driver is just one less resource that you actually have going for you. So that's interesting to note. Triple Call by the Grave, standard. You need this, like, actually. Triple Invocation. Once again, additional power cards as you're churning through time, like, just very good. Triple copies of Magical Meltdown. I say this is good because of the recursion. Triple copies of Mind Control. Honestly, moving the opponent's monster out of the way so that you can combo, or taking control of it so that you can link, is actually really good right now. Triple copies of Pot of Desires. So 7 cards is really good. That's all I can really say. 2 copies of Terraforming. Now, the extra deck is pretty interesting in terms of design. 1 Phoenix, 1 Cerberus, 1 Decode. I actually really like this. 1 Boral Sword for OTKs, 1 Alistair, 1 Omega, 1 Purgatrio, triple Makaba, 1 Malangelica, 1 Elysium, 1 Caligula, 1 Chimeratech, and 1 Fortress Dragon. Side deck, triple Cyber Dragon, pretty standard. 1 Prankatops, triple copies of Sphere Mode, triple copies of Twin Twister, triple copies of Evenly Matched, and 2 copies of Red Reboot. Honestly, if I were to play this, I would be very similar to this. I know a few people are kind of questioning the Veilers, but honestly, this is about where I want to be in this format if I was playing this deck. Very good advice to those of you that are looking at this list right now. Give this a shot. I think that this actually has a chance. Now, we actually have an ABC list. This is from Gilesdale, or Gillisdale, however you pronounce your name. Probably am terribly butchering it, and I'm sorry. But, you know, we've got some more going second ABC in our format. I like that. So, we have triple copies of the old A Assault Core. Triple copies of Bee-Buster Drake. We have triple copies of Crush Wyvern. I know somebody's going to comment, why is he playing 9? You like to see these cards. We have triple copies of Ash Blossom, 2 copies of DD Crow, So DD Crow in the current format is actually pretty good. It's about removing any sort of Salamangreat piece that your opponent is going to want to try to grab, or anything else that they're really going to try to do to you that specifically requires, I guess, if you draw it late enough in the combo and your opponent's trying to recur something, maybe you get a little bit more value out of this, but it just kind of depends in the stage in which you're doing this. This also stops your opponent's Balonix from resolving, so feel free to capitalize on this. Triple copies of Union Hanger, the best card in the deck next to Terraforming. Triple copies of Engage. 1 copy of Hornet Drones. 2 copies of Widow Anchor. Triple copies of Mind Control. 1 copy of Mirror Force. Triple copies of Twin Twister. 2 copies of Zyrus. This is why we're maxing out on pieces. Banishing pieces when they're maxed out at 3 is pretty okay. We have 1 copy of Upstart Goblin, 2 copies of Impermanence, and triple copies of the reason why this deck is good. Unfortunately, Evenly was really great pre-Salamangreat, but it's kind of just a losing tempo. We'll kind of see how the future of the format goes, dictating if this card will actually stay good or not. We have 1 copy of Unicorn, 1 copy of Cerberus, 1 copy of Phoenix, 1 copy of Mermaid, 1 Boral Sword for OTKs, 1 Decode, 1 Summon Sorceress, 1 Clara and Rushka, 1 Genius, 1 Reprodicus, 1 Kagari, 1 Hayate, and triple Dragon Buster. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Side deck triple Lancia. Thunder Dragon's still a problem, even though it doesn't seem like it's a problem. It's a weird situation, but like this deck just kind of auto loses to the deck. So 2 copies of Droll and Lockbird, no real explanation. Triple Gamma, the 1 driver, once again, that package kind of showing up and showing its ugly head that it's actually doing work. Definitely, if you go first and you draw this, like, you're just kind of in such a good position. If your opponent tries to hand trap you, like, enjoy your free links. 2 copies of Turtle, triple Called by the Grave, and 1 Union Scramble, actually. The fact that this card still does work even into today's format really says something about, like, this card will stand the test of time. It's just kind of going to depend on really the rest of the format, honestly. And the last deck I have for you guys today is Sky Striker, compliments of Sebastian Brown. Actually did really well at his event with his deck. Interesting things to note, though, really quick. Why did I say quack? We have 2 copies of the Scythe in the Sanctum. So in a world where you go first, these cards are good. But unfortunately, you have to go first. But this deck is a deck that, like, blind goes second, because, you know, main deck Evenlies, and this is his array hand traps. As long as you're able to go second and do what your deck wants to do, you'll be fine. So this is the life of a Sky Striker player that is going second in Salamangreat form. I love it. I really do. So we have triple copies of Ash Blossom, 2 copies of Ghost Spell, and 2 copies of Ogre. A little bit of advice: if you Ogre the reincarnated Salamangreat, you're usually getting some pretty good value out of it. I will say that. Triple copies of Ray, essentially stable. 2 copies of Foolish Braille Goods, 1 copy of Metal Foes Fusion, 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army, triple copies of Area 0, 1 copy of Afterburners, 2 copies of Eagle Booster. This card is getting a lot of value right now. I really like to, and I understand why players are going to at the moment. It just makes a lot of situations all the better. 1 copy of Hornet Drones, 1 copy of Shark Cannon, triple copies of Widow Anchor, 2 copies of Multi-Roll. The argument between for 2 of these versus 3 is still there. So, I've heard a lot of arguments about this, and I see both sides of the equation. Having not played this, you kind of run into some issues. So, honestly, I do think it is a very good card worth playing. But it is a brick. If you're playing locals, I'd probably consider this. Triple copies of Engage, 2 copies of Terraforming, triple copies of Twin Twister, 1 copy of Upstart Goblin, and triple copies of Evenly Matched. The extra deck down here, we have 1 Underclock Taker, triple copies of Shizuku, triple copies of Kagari, and triple copies of Hayate. We do not have a Kaina, ladies and gentlemen. This man's playing Underclock Taker instead. We have 1 Unicorn, 1 Phoenix, 1 Clara, 1 Boral Sword, and 1 Dragastalpalia. Side deck, we have 2 copies of Scythe, triple copies Called by the Grave, 2 Shared Ride, 1 Super Poly, triple Sanctum, 2 copies of Impermanence, and 2 Mind Crush. wrapping this up, congratulations, all of you duelists. I'm very happy that you guys had information to share with me. In the future, if anybody has any deck lists that they want to send, please send them to my page, to my personal Facebook. Give me time. I will try to get to them ASAP. I'm so backlogged on information right now, it's insane, but I will do my best. I don't want to make 6 of these videos in a day, so there's that. Alright guys, once again, thank you for sending these in. Guys, please comment, subscribe, turn on those bell notifications, and, well guys, I'm out. Peace.
The ride never, well, truly ends. Thank you, patrons. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd be wearing in these videos. I might be a truffle shuffle incident all over again. Guys, please also check out Vanco40 for some awesome Vanguard content. Some other interesting stuff you might find up here on the left or in the description as well. Thanks for watching.